This episode of Manage Smarter is presented by Admall, Sales Fuel's sales intelligence program for media and agencies that help sales teams sell smarter. Learn more about Admall at admall.com. Welcome to the Manage Smarter podcast with hosts C. Lee Smith and Audrey Strong. We're glad you're here for discussions on new ways to manage smarter, hire, develop and retain talent, improve results, and propel team performance to new heights. This is the Manage Smarter podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to the Manage Smarter podcast. I am Audrey Strong, Director of Communications for Sales Fuel.
And I'm C. Lee Smith, the President and CEO of Sales Fuel.
And Leah Woodford is at the table today. Leah, good morning. How are you?
Great. Good morning to see you both.
Yeah, you are so dynamic. Everyone, Leah is the Chief Executive Officer and the founder of SmartFem.com and SmartFem TV. And you created this as a result of your years as a publicist, a columnist, radio TV personality. But you also have experience as a business consultant and an entrepreneur, right?
I do. I
Yeah.
do.
And on top of that, everybody, like, she has more hours in the day than I do, I think. You are also the author of Lead, Share, Empower, My Strategies for Success in Life and Business. Her passion is connecting people. You really are a super connector. That's the term that I've kind of used over the years.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, and Leah says social media is the new cold calling card. I can't wait to hear what you mean by that. So welcome.
Thank you.
How should managers use social media for cold calls? How does that work?
Well, let me tell you, first of all, I've been in sales for years because if you didn't know, being a TV personality and stuff and being a single mom for years, there's no money in it. So I got into sales and I was schlepping copiers in 110 degrees and heels in my little Ally McBeal suits. So when Facebook came out in 2008, I was an early adopter.
Okay. Wow. So,
Go ahead,
Lee.
expound on that then, because obviously sales is something near and dear to my heart. And
Right.
we'll talk a little bit more in a moment about how managers use sales use social media for non-sales. But I wanted to drill down on that topic a little bit to try to understand what do you mean when you say social media is the new cold call?
Well, pretty much everybody's online, even grandma's online. I mean, and they all have a Facebook account, an Instagram, a Twitter. What I like about it, it allows people to kind of get a little snapshot and view. They kind of think they know you and maybe like you and possibly want to do business with you. And it's just a smarter way to manage your time. I don't know about you guys, but I have no interest in knocking on doors and having them slammed in my face or pounding the phones like I used to.
Yeah, I mean, salespeople are are creatures of, we're seeking approval, and so we're willing, but at the same point in time, we get the door slammed in our face a lot, and we're willing to build up a tolerance for rejection because that approval feels so good once we get it, right? It's like, so for me, it's like, when I look at your social media, for example, I look at your LinkedIn and some of the other things, I see, okay, we're both members of the American Advertising Federation because it's like we believe in furthering that industry, obviously. We're both Schnauzer owners. I mean, so we immediately start off with a couple things, that we immediately like to talk about. And we both believe in advancing females in the business world. So there's three things immediately right off the bat that we have in common that we can talk about. And I think that's part of the beauty of the social media.
I think so too. I think that people get a little snapshot of your life, like automatically we bonded over schnauzers, advertising, let's face it, it's harder to do, it's challenging now, 33 million people are cutting cable. So where are they going to be? They're going to be on social media.
So what are your tips and best practices for building out your network, even if you're just looking for mentoring and peer-to-peer, learning situations? I've kind of been told when I started working in public relations, like the only place you should ever contact somebody for business is LinkedIn, not Facebook, not Twitter. And it seems like the lines are blurring a little bit more and more. What do you think, Leah?
I really think, remember, hence, it's social. And I think a lot of people go right into pitch zone. Don't do that. Build What I love about social media, it allows you to have conversations and get to know people, and it has to be a mutually beneficial relationship. And I think so many people, just the minute they connect, they start pitching, and you got to stop that. And the other thing is, it's not about you. Quit being the Kim Kardashian, and doing all the selfies, and start networking and building other people. When you help other people, it always comes back to you.
Yeah, and for me, one of my pet peeves, and I know a lot of people share this opinion, is like when we get a LinkedIn request then from a salesperson, whatever, and it looks interesting, so we accept it, and immediately we get their pitch, and like that, boom, okay, you're blocked, you're out of here. It's like, I'm not even going to consider you because, you're not interested in me as a person. You're only interested in me because of my wallet. And that's not how I want to have my relationships on social media, number one. And number two is like, could you maybe provide me with a little bit of value first? Maybe send me an in-mail or something like that with, some useful information that would help me with my business, or something, something you heard about my business, or something you saw about my business that you liked, or something like that, that makes me feel like, you actually care about me as a person. You care about my business and my well-being before you actually request that LinkedIn request.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, people it's just like networking. Have you ever gone to the networking thing and
Sure.
people are just shoving business cards in your face? It really is the same thing. They're just throwing up all over you through social media, and you have to delete those people. I don't want them getting near my people. So delete, 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 delete.
So how do you do it when you reach out to somebody then on LinkedIn, as you typically do? I mean, and you don't know them and they don't know you. How do you do it?
I just ask them, hey, I actually read their profile.
Yeah.
They start there. Find out a little bit about the person that you're contacting. Are they a fit? Aren't they a fit? And are they somebody that you want to know? And start building the relationship, and before you start pitching.
Is there I've seen people do this as well, but it's more work. It's twice the work. I kind of like to think of my Facebook as my personal kind of territory and LinkedIn as my professional territory. But some people have a business profile on Facebook separate from their personal Facebook, and then you make your business one public and your Facebook personal one private. Like they split off.
I'm just going to say there's no such thing as private.
No,
that's true.
And I have a business page, and you can't make any money. You have to boost. I'm just going to tell you, it's on social media, you want to go where the food is. Right now, we are focusing on Facebook groups. And the reason I like the group, building your own platform, first of all, we do conferences, but the second thing is Facebook can monetize it. And if Facebook can monetize it, your people are going to see it. If there is engagement in your group, and that's where they're putting all their algorithms. And I know from our Smart Femme Entrepreneur group, a lot of people are making sales and building relationships, and the money is happening because the relationships are built. And anybody that just goes in pitching, they're 86th.
So you're really creating a dialogue that's meaningful.
I have to, because these, I really believe that my readers and my viewers and even my social media followers, they trust me to vet the people in my group. And I do. And I have several other strategic partners that help me. And I'm not an expert on everything. I kind of stay in my lane, and I bring in other people who are better experts than I am. And then we just monitor anybody that is not following our protocol. We 86 them.
I was going to say, anybody wants to join the group, it's called Smart Femme Entrepreneur Network. Just so that.
Yes, it is. And it's for entrepreneurs, speakers, and book authors. Because when I wrote my first book, I realized how much I didn't know about the industry. And I thought, I'm going to create something so I can actually learn and share, because there's a lot of snake oil salesmen in the book and speaking industry.
That's for sure. So what social networks would you say, maybe might be a waste of time for some people? Like particularly if you're pitching to businesses.
It really kind of depends on your product or service because the demographics vary so much. I would say for business, LinkedIn, but get the professional edition. It's really robust,
Hmm.
but never, ever, ever count Mark Zuckerberg out. You know, this is a guy who now you can do a Facebook Live and you can bring people in. You know, he bought Instagram. I just don't bet against the big guys
Hmm.
because this is a kid who made his first million at 13. You know,
Yeah.
and he will buy the competition out. And let's face it, they say that millennials are not on Facebook. I lead a whole team of them. I can tell you they are.
Hmm.
They're just different.
They're definitely on Instagram for sure,
They
Yeah.
totally are on Instagram.
which
Do you
is
have an
owned by
opinion
Facebook.
on Snapchat? Because I've been on that and I've seen there's a lot of ways you can sell through Snapchat. The problem is that there's really no record of the.
Snapchat isn't a good fit for a lot of businesses unless you're in
Yeah.
teen queen clothing. You know,
Yeah.
it's a very, very, very niche market. And I say that you really kind of have to know your market before you really go into it. But the good news is there's a lot of statistics out there.
So that's the sales angle. So how can a manager then use social media then to better manage their staff or lead their staff and or just learn more about them?
You know, I'm glad you asked that. I just, Keller Williams is one of my advertising clients, but they brought me in to teach their salespeople how to create a persona online so that they don't feel like they're going to be jumped all over, and how they could build relationships online. Because let's face it, if somebody likes who you are and what you have to say, and then their friends see you, they're more apt to recommend you. But what I did was I teach them about why people follow certain people, why are they influential, and how you can incorporate that into your own social media. Because let's face it, despite the fact that Steve Jobs has been dead for a long time, he will forever be the face of Apple.
Mm-hmm.
You
Right.
know?
So is your feeling then that if your direct reports then see you on social media, that they feel more connected to you, that or more apt to like you, and therefore might be easier to lead? Is that what you're thinking here?
Well, you have to remember we are in a multi-generational workforce right now, and you have to go. You have to kind of lead where they are. And let's face it, the 9 to 5 grind in the cubicle is pretty much gone. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I lead millennials and they show up in yoga pants,
Mhm.
you know, and, I'm sorry, but they're on this all the time, they're
Yeah.
texting and tweeting, and you have to stay relevant. And, it was so interesting because I did an interview with Alice Cooper,
Oh, I watched that. It was great.
Thank you.
I can't believe that those two look amazing. They look so young. They've been married for what, 40 years?
40 years.
Yeah.
40 years.
God.
But think about this guy. This guy is before my time. I'm 56. And he is still relevant. In fact, he's making more money than ever.
That's right.
And that's because he knows how to relate on social media. And you got to go where the food is. You have to go where the food is, and they're all on social media.
And Alice Cooper's done that. He's got some restaurants there out in Arizona where you're at. So he's been very successful with.
Yes, talk about great licensing and branding. But that's it. When you have a really great brand and you can put it on different social media platforms. I mean, think about this. Years ago, you know this, Audrey, people would pay tens of thousands of dollars to be able to get the kind of exposure they get now on social media.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Well, Periscope is a live shot.
right?
It's a portable live shot. You can go live anywhere, anytime. You don't need
It
a live
is.
truck anymore. You don't need a reporter.
Well,
Yeah.
Facebook and Google have leveled the playing field for,
Mhm.
the small business person. Now,
What's
the challenge is, how do you stand out? And that's why you really need to be good at your social media.
Mm.
So this might be a little bit of an offshoot, but what's Amazon's role in all this?
Well, Amazon, I'm not sure what your question is.
Well, I know that you're active now with your Smart Fem and
Oh.
Amazon and everything like that. So I'm kind of curious then how Amazon plays into your social media.
Amazon, well, first of all, I don't know if you know this or not. I think I stated it earlier. 33 million people are cutting cable.
Mm-hmm.
There are two people that have cable these days, and that's, you know, your Fox News junkies and of course your sports freaks. And now they're creating what they call skinny cable, so you can kind of pick and choose a la carte. But the number one and two streaming platforms, and they're neck and neck, are Roku and Amazon Prime. And that's why I chose to go there. I went with Jeff with C-Suite, and he was absolutely fabulous. And I got to tell you, being a postmodern feminist in Cowboy Town, Scottsdale, Arizona,
Mhm.
I got a lot of no's, despite the fact that, you know, I had a huge presence out here because I was here years, but they want to keep me doing dating and lifestyle, you know, stuff like that. And I, you know, my calling is much bigger. I had to fly all the way to New York to meet a South Dakota cowboy who would say yes.
That was Jeff
And
Hazlett. Yeah.
yep. And then once we got there, all roads lead to Alice. Somebody saw my interview with Alice Cooper, and they wanted to give me my own network on Roku. So of course I said yes. I don't have enough content for 15 channels, but I'm working on it. And then that opened the door to Amazon Prime. And Amazon Prime, the latest statistics that I got was 1 in 3 households have it in the US.
Wow.
And our show is now airing internationally on Amazon Prime. So that was why I wanted to go there, because my goal, the conversations that women should be having should be more global conversations and not just here in the Western part of
Hemisphere. Yeah.
Yeah.
And fascinating. So you're backing up the bus just a bit. What you're saying is your management style, if you're a manager and you're listening to this podcast, take the personal brand and they're in the workplace and incorporate it into your social media so that it's consistent. So whatever touch point your employees might see on any given day, you're consistent and they get you. And what,
Yeah, and they have you
through
you
your
have to
content.
be approachable too.
Yeah.
I think the days of the guy in the corner office who's inaccessible are over. If you don't have an open door policy, you won't have a company. I mean, we've seen that with Uber. I mean, look at all the mistakes some of the companies are making. And, you know, look at some of the iconic companies that have gone under because they didn't realize, first of all, if you don't realize your consumer is changing, then you don't have a business. And I think that's a big problem.
And the open door policy you speak of, I'm guessing that's metaphorical, because when you have so many employees that are working remote, doesn't matter if your office door is open or not, they can't get there. So that's why you have to employ things like social media, emails, things like that, and instant chat and all that sort of thing to be accessible to them. Is that pretty much what you had in mind?
I think so. And really kind of when you think about it, the younger generation guys, they were raised on phones. You know, you and I used to have to go to the library and research everything.
Yep.
These guys can whip out their phone and they are wicked fast and wicked smart. And, you know, they've been indoctrinated into 10 million messages all at once. So they're wired a little differently, and they process and they make snap decisions. So the social media allows you to kind of, it allows you to kind of build that relationship online, if you will.
Tell me a little bit more about SmartFem. What's that all about? What's your group all about? What's your mission, and how do you accomplish that?
Okay. Well, I was a columnist and a TV correspondent for years. In 2009, my then freshman at NAU called me after seeing one of my dating segments. Mom, you have to create something that's going to educate, inspire, and empower women. And I realized she was right. Because when I was in sales, despite the fact that I was a top producer, I got paid less. It's still a reality. And I have a daughter, and now I have a bonus daughter. And I lead a bunch of millennials, and it's got to stop. Despite the fact that we have laws, it really hasn't changed much. And we haven't gone farther down the field. So it really resonated with me. My daughter was horrified and embarrassed, and she was raised by a single mom who worked all the time. I mean, I worked all the time. And even when I was at Little League or basketball or something, I can still remember being there, but I wasn't there, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Did I call that client? Did I close this? Did I send that proposal out? You know, because you're multitasking. So I was not a present parent. And I think that was a result of the fact that I never wanted my children to feel less than, you know, the two-parent party. So I worked twice as hard, and she saw that. So she kind of called me out on it. So I started the online magazine because I didn't have a face in 2011 as a result of cancer, and it would be a year putting me back together again, and 12 surgeons and multi-surgeries. So I never planned on going back on camera. But then Google acquired YouTube, and then everything was all about video. And although I called some of my old producers and my cameraman, I couldn't get what I wanted. So I went back to film school in 2014 because I feel that SmartFem needs to be a catalyst for conversations that we aren't having that we should be having.
I really enjoyed the show prep for the show, just watching your segments. Everybody go to smartfem.com and watch Leah on there. All types of different topics and guests and a lot of really great content and food for thought. And then your Twitter handle is SmartFem Magazine, right?
Without the E.
Right, yes. And then SmartFem Entrepreneur Network is the Facebook group. So
I hope you guys join in that. We have some.
I would love to.
Oh, sure.
We have some amazing people in that. And that, you know, that's where the food's going with Facebook. They're putting all that, you know, the algorithms into that because they can see engagement.
Yeah. And if you're not an early adopter like Leah, become one, because the train is moving at light speed and she's on the front of the engine. You really are sort of moving your business where everything is going. And I think that that's admirable. Really great. We could all take a cue.
It's exhausting.
From you.
I bet, yeah.
As soon as you figure it out, they change it.
Yeah.
So-
I have one last question.
Sure.
For Leah, which is, we talk about social media, and but a lot of learning that takes place through social learning, and they pretty much, in this case, watch the manager then for the behavior that they model, you know, to kind of see if that's the kind of behavior then that they should be emulating themselves. And so they learn by watching. And I'm kind of curious then, so when your daughter called you out in 2011, and now we're fast forwarding 7-8 years later, something like that, is she a hard worker just like you were? I mean, is she pretty much, I guess, what lessons did she pick up by watching a mom who really busted her ass and to really make something of herself and be successful and everything like that? Is she emulating some of that behavior now?
Yes, but in her own way. She is working on her master's, and she's a special ed teacher. And
Fantastic.
she cries a lot. You know, she's had her heart ripped out many times, and I said, Lauren, there's no money in that. She goes, Mom, somebody needs to advocate for these kids.
That's a special position, and my children have benefited from special ed teachers and IEPs and things of that nature. So I applaud the work that she's doing, and I'm glad that she's doing it, even though the money is not really what it should be for that position, but very valuable and very much appreciated.
Yes.
Fantastic. All right. So which social media portal and channel would you like people to reach out to you through if they want to ask a question or connect with you, Leah?
You know what? I really would encourage them to go to the SmartFem Entrepreneur Network, our Facebook group page, because chances are, if I can't answer their question, I have some of the most amazing global experts in there.
Sounds good. Well, thank you. Thanks for joining us today. It was really great to hear some of these ideas. Fantastic.
It was nice to meet a fellow Schnauzer lover.
Yeah,
You love what you guys are doing, and rock on with C-Suite.
all right,
Awesome.
and rock on with Amazon Prime.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and recommend on iTunes, Overcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also get more great information at salesfuel.com.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.